Hello everyone, I am Mahesh Bhatt, Chief Business Officer for TeamLease and moderated for today's TL Adda webinar on building the culture of innovation in an organization. The average lifespan of a company has come down from 50 years to about 10 years in the past 5 decades. Companies which are outliers to this and have survived this long have one thing in common, which is innovation. This innovation comes as a part of company's culture, which needs to be fostered. Most companies focus on the aspect of not failing rather than creating an environment where innovation is encouraged. While companies should not have innovation in random terms but focus on innovation with a goal. Once the culture of innovation is set into an organization, there is higher chance of it surviving longer than most other companies, even if they have to pivot on their strategies and products once in a while. In today's discussion with the esteemed panelists from the industry, we aim to touch on the topic of most impactful strategies to inculcate the culture of innovation in any organization. We are honored to have two distinguished guests today with us. Let me introduce them and welcome them to the TL Adda. Our speaker number one is Miss Aarti Puri, is the Director Talent at 𝐂𝐮𝐥𝐿 for India and Southeast Asia. She is a seasoned leader with an experience of 2 decades. Her expertise is in talent acquisition, talent management, talent development, resource planning, and quantified HR delivery. Our speaker number two is Mr. 𝐂𝐮𝐻𝐿𝐼 Malpani, Director at 𝐿IBR since January 2015. He joined 𝐿IBR in 2013 in refrigerator division to look after the finance and admin function which includes all enabling functions like finance, legal, taxation, procurement, HR, IT, etc. Mr. Malpani has 17 years of rich experience working in various capacities of finance and administration functions. Prior to joining 𝐿IBR, he worked with 𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐺 Limited and Siemens Limited for setting up their greenfield projects at Aurangabad. So welcome to both of you. To utilize your time to the maximum, I would straight away start with the first question to Aarti. Aarti, how have you experienced innovation in your respective organization over the years?
So I think when you work in talent acquisition, the only way forward is innovation. The general trends of hiring do not work on the leadership or the strategic hiring. In 𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐺, also in my entire span of 5 years, we've seen this entire movement from doing the traditional hiring to doing the non-traditional hiring, wherein we are looking at more of an automated processes of finding out profiles and searching out CVs. We encourage recruiters not to do the traditional hiring, and they come up with new ideas and innovative thoughts on how they can do it within the organization. Each recruiter gets a platform to showcase their work on learning Wednesdays that we have once a week, and they have to come up with new ideas, or else they would have to come up with new ideas on the non-talent acquisition aspects of innovation. That's how we are pushing innovation within the HR function to spread it across in the organization also.
That's great. In fact, even TeamLease has started going for virtual artificial intelligence enabled interviews so that the client will get a qualified candidates when they meet up.
Yeah. That's also a picking up trend in the industry. I think a few platforms are using it, including TeamLease. Including that, there are also a lot of AI platforms wherein people are going ahead and recording their evaluation scores, interviews and their tests, and the consultants or the agencies that are working on it, they are picking up those scores and those reports and then further evaluating candidates and sharing with the organization. This is primarily saving a lot of money and time for my panelists as well, and for the people who are getting evaluated for the process. They don't have to repeat the same thing again and again, and the panelists are also forced to ask the right questions and different questions.
That's right. That's great. 𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐺?
Yeah, thanks, Mahesh. First of all, thank you for having me here to speak on the topic of my heart, innovation. But before I talk about, I think it is important for everyone to know about my company and what we do. Basically, Liber is a German company. It's a family-owned technology business. It's there since last 70 years. Third generation of the family is running this business, and worldwide around 50,000 employees are working for the group. Turnover for last year is more than 90,000 crores. So this is just background from where I come from. And as a group, we are present into 13 diversified product segments like earth moving, mining, cranes, refrigerator, aerospace, water, and so on. And these segments got added over the last 70 years gradually. So as a group, we have our own core values, and innovation is one of the key core values which group appreciates to have in all the companies in all the divisions across. And as a company, we stand for continuous innovation. Successful ideas are managed at a large scale, and whatever ideas which are already achieved, which serves as a basis for further improvement. So it's an ongoing activity within the group. Talking about my company in Aurangabad, we have set up the refrigerator manufacturing facility, which is producing domestic use appliances in the Aurangabad, and we have corporate and manufacturing setup there itself. I joined Liber in 2013. It was a greenfield project, and when I say greenfield, I emphasize in my introduction also because greenfield is a time where you have opportunity to think large. There is no legacy or set boundary conditions, unlike in any of the established organization. So while we had started with 2 to 3 employees, and now we have grown more than 1,000 employees. And we got all stages of initial incorporation, and always kept in mind this innovative approach and being creative to be in line with industry. And there are many examples which I can maybe refer during our further conversation, where we feel we could make a difference, and we have this philosophy of doing things creatively. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, that's good. So my next question to you, Arti, how important is innovation to be ingrained in an organization's culture for its future and business growth?
I think we all talk about core values that are set up as an organization. At 𝐂𝐮𝐥𝐿, we being an auto retail organization, which was a most unorganized setup, being there in the industry for the last 12 years, 𝐂𝐮𝐥𝐿 has embedded this as part of our culture itself. Last 10 years, we have our own delight values, which has which is innovation in it. And they talk about the fact that people are going to be pushed not to score well in their PMSs, but primarily to get them a better process of innovation within for evaluation. They are made to showcase innovation during their annual reviews, so that they are motivated towards it, and two, they know that there is some benefit out of it, because that's a typical human thought process that I will do it, but what is the best outcome of it that I would get as an individual. So while we are pushing it across to the individuals, we are also looking at it to make sure that the overall organization picks up those innovations. We have initiatives which is like Great Idea Matters, which comes as a activity or a competitive activity within the organization. We send this across to all the employees. The employees give in their ideas, and whichever ideas that they have sent in, which is for whichever department that is, we will score them, rate them from a panelist perspective, and bring in and inculcate those innovative ideas within the organization. This is a twice yearly activity that we do as Great Idea Matters, which is pushing in innovation with the right spirit towards the organization.
Okay. Hemant?
Yeah. Following Aarti, I think we do have similar initiatives. Saying about importance, it is like with the existing era wherein there is a cutthroat competition, in the organization, and then as an organization we need to be more relevant and need to be more customer focused, where the data analytics, technological advancements, enhancements are playing big role in promoting this agenda of the innovation. And at the Liver, we are largely focusing on the small improvements as well, and we feel like even small changes can make big difference as a company. In fact, I tell you, we have incorporated innovation as a KPI for many of the employees. So basically, how it goes is when we have target setting done at the beginning of year, we have KPI like number of ideas, number of innovations during the year. So that way we feel it is very important for everybody to think in their own function, how they can be creative, how they can be innovative, which helps in turn to organize their work within their function, and it helps the company overall. In fact, I realized having this innovation concept with the employees and involving them gives them satisfaction also, wherein when they give some idea and they see this idea getting implemented at the company level, though it is cost saving, though it is process improvisation, or doing something differently, they feel associated meaningfully with the company, and then in turn it helps them to be more associated and being part of the company more closely, I can say. And in general, see, if everybody is thinking innovative in their own functions in line with industry, definitely it has to help business and grow business well.
Okay, so similar thing with TeamLease. I remember when I started off out of my 27 years of my career, I've spent in the HR industry for about 16 to 17 years. I remember in 2006, 2007, or even till 2010 or 2000, up to 2015, I believe. So we used to send our executive for onboarding at client place. The guy will not have ID proof or the address proof or the signature proof. Too many things used to be missing, and then it used to take its own sweet time, and then a lot of money, lot of time used to be wasted. And today, if the person, everything starting from the recruitment, from when the interview stage till the offer letter, everything is done using artificial intelligence and through unique models that TeamLease has adopted, whereby the link for onboarding will be floated online and or even on the WhatsApp, and the candidate can just take his photograph, just upload his Aadhaar card, three basic documents, other details, then PAN, and then the bank details. That's it. So that fast onboarding happens, and then all documentation is done in one shot. So my next question is on the similar lines to Aarti. What are the things to keep in mind while driving the change towards innovation-centric organization?
The basic and the most important is to set the goals of the organization and the individuals on the same platform. That's how you start building up the right culture and the processes. Second is having open communication systems, wherein the employee should feel empowered that they can go and talk to anyone and speak up their mind wherever they want it, how they want, so that their ideas are thought. So saying that your ideas matter does not mean everything. You also have to have an open communication systems for them within the organization. Uh, Thirdly, giving the right feedback, constructive and supportive feedback to the employees on the goals of the work and the job that they are doing helps them to become more innovative and grow. And I think as a HR professional, we all agree that everyone wants to get rewarded for what they are doing, whether it is a small platform or a larger platform. Equitable and generous rewards and recognitions within the organization is something that always helps the employees to grow and bring up more innovation within the system.
Okay, over to you, Hemant.
Yeah, with Aarti completely, like, see, trust, openness are very important parameters which creates emotional safety and relationship among the employees. And if it is there, then I think they don't see, as a Indians anyway, we have grown in the constant environment wherein, jugaad is always there. So jugaad is basically nothing but thinking in a constant environment and in an innovative way. But the jugaad comes with some risk also. But at the same time, we have proper leadership, proper mechanism in place wherein we analyze timely ideas and implement it, see it, and we are agile to immediately change if something doesn't go the way we think. Then I think people are encouraged to be open, think out of box, and give timely good ideas and being part of growth story of any organization.
True, I agree with both of you. In fact, I remember in the year 2007, I was working for an organization. So the company thought that the payroll used to happen on a Excel sheet. So the company thought that they should invest in a ERP whereby all documentation is done thoroughly, and then it can be audited and we can retrieve the data any given point of time, unlike a Excel sheet. If the employee leaves, then the document data is also gone. So the company bought a with good intention bought a ERP, but unfortunately for 1 year between 2006 to 2007 nobody touched it. Everybody thought that doing it on an Excel sheet is much easier. So then the training was done and the management put its foot down. Come what may, from the month of say so and so month, we will start going live on ERP. If you like it, you do it. If you don't like it, then the payroll will not happen. Then you will be at the receiving end of the client. And if you receive the client, then you will face the repercussion of that. So that's it. So people found it little difficult in the beginning, but end of the day, today every staffing company uses a ERP, and all data is available at fingertip, and that's how it started. So going to my next question, what are
Yeah,
the
I can
ways?
add further, Mahesh.
Yeah,
Like you said, sorry to interrupt, but I can remember two examples here. Like when we started in 2013-14, it was quite early as compared to today's time, wherein as a project we started with the zero cash policy. So even this chai wala and newspaper wala guy was transferred payment to his account, and when we were on site and we asked him, give your bank account detail, he was like, what are you asking for? but but still, like, we managed it, and it helped us in 2016 when the demonetization happened. All vendors were having bank account. We didn't had any single problem, even if something comes. So that way, like, if we think in advance and we think this is going to help in larger picture in long run, initially there would be troubles, but it helps at later point of time.
I
absolutely.
think just to sum up, when you talk about innovation and bringing out change as automation, you always have to bring in the right comfort with the people who are actually using it. Because if, and I'm sure that a lot of us would remember the times when automation actually started coming in and everybody thought that our jobs are going to be in danger. And that's from their the smallest aspects to the larger aspects. You have to tell them how they would learn from their own mistakes and how innovation and automation overall will help them. That's how you would actually build the right culture across and bring in new automation and innovation across.
I remember during my school days when Rajiv Gandhi wanted to bring automation or computerization in the banks. I had seen the employees, bank employees, coming on the streets and then going on strike, saying that they will lose their job, and they didn't know that the market is going to expand by about 1,500 times by bringing in the computer rather than reducing the number of employees. It is going to increase the number of employees, but they never thought about it, and then because of the ignorance they were going on strike. But today what how it has helped. We Most of us don't even go to the bank. We do everything on the mobile, not even on the laptop or a computer. So
Yeah, I think it's telling people what's right rather than just implementing. At times when we are building a culture, we forget that not just bringing out orders and telling people what to do, it's also putting into their thought process that this is the right way to do. That's very important.
absolutely, I fully agree with you. So going to my next question, What are the ways in which you suggest any organization could inculcate innovation in their company's culture, Arthik?
So, like I said previously, also, it's all about putting in the right culture that you bring in with the organization. So, one, you communicate your goals and expectations, and you make sure that it's embedded in the goals that you're communicating to the employees. Second is you build the right capacity for the employees to get time for putting in innovation within the organization, because that will always help them to uh, segregate time, and they would not feel stressed to close the goals of innovation, because they know that even if I want to spend some time, I would have that capacity built in within my day to day or my overall goals, so that I can achieve innovation when I move ahead. And finally, we all learn from our mistakes, and any successful innovation requires a long way that employees are terrified to fail. You need to go back and tell them that to build innovation in the culture itself, it is imperative to take the fear away. And it's okay if you fail. If there's an idea that you've come up with, you've at least put in some efforts. And if you've put in those efforts and if there's no positive result out of it, that's fine. You know that this will not work, and you can always guide the others. You don't have to fear failure, and you have to embrace failure. I think these are the three most important things that we use as our cultural guide also, while we talk to our employees, to build in that as part of our culture.
Very interesting. Hemant?
Yeah, see, if you ask me, like, definitely as a organization, its leadership team and appropriate infrastructure in terms of relevant policies, processes, and systems can help us to make the innovative environment within the company. See, basically, humans are creatively natural, and it's an infinite resource. Only we need to extract out of it, and we need to create right environment to have this innovation and creativity out of the employees. And somewhere I feel again here, I often say, like, necessity is the mother of innovation. So as a management, as a HR, both are the enablers in the organization which can manage right availability and right scarcity. So if this combination is timely managed and this is shuffled, I think this helps people to think out of box, and then they come out with the good ideas in the organization. And then there is a healthy competition, healthy thinking among the employees to be creative among their own resorts. Few things like here, keeping them defocused from the routine work. So if they are available, then they can think creatively, and maybe there could be some reward recognition policy which helps them to encourage for future ideas and keep them motivated. Even small changes like having cross-functional involvement may also help them to think differently. Sometimes when I say cross-functional means I'm talking about factory. Let's say if I'm sent somebody from non-technical function to factory, he thinks differently. If he asks 2-3 times why question or have this why analysis, something new comes out, and that gives completely different perspective to the things which we are doing in a routine manner. So I think this kind of small things can also help people to think differently. In fact, periodically we do this anonymous surveys within the organization for the functions, and there also you get excellent feedbacks. So it's not necessary people working in the finance can't give any input for the sale or marketing or vice versa. So there, as an organization, we get a good opportunity, a good chance to learn what employee thinks being part of organization.
Agree. In fact, this when you say about necessity is a mother of innovation, I remember what happened to financial world after the demonetization. Even today, the chai wala will also pick up 5 rupees. I keep getting jokes saying that what Google UPI did was killed that bubblegum industry, because the guy used to always give you, instead of 1 rupee change, the guy used to give you, or 5 rupees change, that guy used to give some toffees. So all that is gone today.
Yeah.
My daughter goes to the college and she says that guy never used to pay me 2 rupees change, so now I pay only through Google Pay. So that's how it is. So even in our case, we used to lose a lot of money when we used to do salary transfers. Sometimes the industry used to lose money because the money gets into wrong account because the guy has given us a wrong account number. And today the the innovation has led to such a state where I don't lose any money, because the moment the person comes on board, I take his bank account number, I do something called penny transfer. So 1 rupee transfer is done. The moment it is done, if it is successful, I'll get a intimation saying that this belongs to so and so, account number belongs to so and so, this is his full name. So I confirm that the account belongs to the person, and then it has successfully delivered. So when I do the larger salary transfer, the payment has I'm 100% sure that the payment has gone into the right account. And same with the Aadhaar, which we need to upload, Aadhaar number which we need to upload for PF PF remittance. So I do the verification before I do the remittance for PF, so that I don't default on payment, or I don't need to give a DD for that. So the industry has evolved a lot because of these kind of necessities. So that's how the innovation I always respect in the organization. And also one more thing which I always believe is that the management support is what is highly required whenever you innovate and then you try to implement certain things. If the management support is not there, then whatever is the innovation, whatever is the big idea, that will not go through, right?
Yeah.
So we have come to our last question of the session. Uh, do you think innovation is a necessity in the world we live today? And how does innovation help companies survive in an ever-changing world, Aarti?
I think innovation is a new word that we all think about, but it is something that we've always had as part of evolving to new things. And now innovation is a terminology that we all use, but the human evolvement has always been there, and it it has been always the necessity of the environment in the organization, outside the organization, or as part of human nature. You always have to come up with the new ideas. I'm sure that people who are married, they would understand that there's always requirement of innovation. So it's not just in an organization that innovation is required. It is required even when you're talking to your spouse, or you're talking to your kids, or you're talking to somebody with whom you are doing negotiation on a day-to-day basis. The sabji wala standing outside will need you to give you a different perspective every time for him to give you more discounts than you're actually asking him on the roads, right? So innovation is something that you would always require within an organization. And the most important aspects of uh, embedding innovation within the organization is hiring innovative people, bringing in a WEI format of getting in people, then growing those people within the organization by creating a culture of innovation wherein you build up the goals, you give them the space, and then you evaluate and reward and recognize them for the same, and then help them understand what innovation is all about, from hiring to sustaining within the organization. If you are actually putting in innovation at all steps, uh, by default innovation is going to come in within the organization. Even it's going to become the nature of people, of how they think, right? Every time somebody comes up to you saying that market mein ye chal raha hai to hum ye kar lete hain, you need to ask them that is it like a short term hanging fruit, or it's a long term thought process that they are doing. You need to push them to think, rather than just because everybody else is doing, I should also do it. How benefit it is for you to do within an organization is very important, and that thought actually helps you to grow and think differently from what's the general trends also. And that's how innovation is going to be pushed in at the hiring stage and at the employee life cycle stage.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. See, exactly, innovation is a continuous process. Like it was always there, and only realization is becoming more and more obvious these days with the technology, with the information sharing. I think post-COVID time, it is evidenced by the world, like those who are innovative could survive, and it's definitely it's required for the survival of the businesses. When I look apart, like as a business, when automotive companies, let's say Mercedes, nowadays is not competing with Audi and BMW, but they compete with Google or Apple. You know, living crux of the automotive aside, uh, they are competing with driverless cars, and it comes out of all innovation. So world is changing very fast, and I think with the conventional business models, there is far more need to change and look things differently, because unfortunately, like more for more business model is becoming obsolete nowadays, wherein we add more and more feature and make our things more costly. uh, it is not going to be successful for masses, because big customers cannot afford your expensive products due to their diminishing purchasing power. They are running, as a country, as a world, we are running out of natural resources, maybe oil and water, and sometimes growing income disparity between the wealthy people and normal people is increasing. So somewhere I think we need to do more with less, and that way there is no other choice but to be innovative, to live in the business. And I think it doesn't require reinvention of the wheels kind of thing, because you see these days, last year, if we talk, let's say more than 100 companies got into unicorn club. Everyone is not reinvented the product, they innovated the technology support, and combination of that idea and technology gave the business. So somewhere I think it is part and parcel of life, and it is required.
True. In fact, I was having in my previous webinar, I was interacting with one senior director of HR for a seeds company. So he was telling me, saying that 85% of the farmers in India own less than 2 hectares of land. So how do they survive, particularly during a period like the pandemic when everything was uncertain? So how did they manage? And he was telling me that farmers in Karnataka and Hyderabad, they tried something called land pool. So the pooling together of their land helped them survive and come out with better output. So everywhere the innovation, I think, is across the industries, across segments. Everywhere, I think the innovation is helping people achieve greater results. So with this, we have come to the last part of the TL Adda session. So key takeaways is importance of innovation in an organization, building blocks of culture of innovation and its evolution. How can innovation impact the company's business? Strategies to include innovation in your organization and culture. So, Arti and Hemant, if you have anything special, so you have anything to special to mention here, that would be great. We do have time, so
Maybe just as a experience, I can share a few more examples which may be helpful for the audience and the participants here to think. Like as I said, we are a manufacturing company, and we produce refrigerators. So ours is a seasonal kind of business, wherein during summer season and festival season we have tremendous pressure on the shop floor. But during off season we have some space. So idea came from our colleagues in the companies that can we send our production workers to the sales group of production workers. And advantage explained was like if they go to market, they realize the how customer looks at the product which they produce on the line, and from that point of view, they can think and they can put their involvement on the line. They understand the market, and their mindset is also changed, because working whole day on the line, and occasionally for maybe weeks time they are going to market in a group and observing the market. And we implemented this, and you know it has become now practice for us. Like every year during off season we experimented with few select employees, we send them to market, And we see tremendous change when they come back. When they come back, they are so excited, happy to see our products appreciated by the customer in the market. They share their experience to their other colleagues who are in the factory, and it changed the complete environment and mindset for them.
Okay, Arti?
I think the overall summary that you've given up has actually summed up what's happening in the innovation side of the business. And the only takeaway that I can give as part of the summary on this building the culture for innovation is, if you give the employees a leeway to do mistakes and help them to move away from their failure thought process, they will bring in more innovation for you.
Okay, so any questions from anyone in the audience? So there is one question here. What are your views on innovation in a hybrid or online workplace? Is it more difficult than in a physical workplace, or would not matter? Arti, can I ask this question to you?
So I think hybrid living or working from home has helped us to bring in more innovation. People have started thinking more out of the box. Rather, when you come to office, you have a lot of other walls around you, right? But in a place like your house where you can think openly, if you're working from there, your productivity is also high. Your thought process is not limited, and it's just how you're implementing it, where you're implementing it. It does not really make a difference. Innovation is not for an office building. Innovation is for people within the office. So where those people are sitting does not really matter if you really appreciate those people. So yes, I don't think it makes a difference in the hybrid or a work from home culture if people are not there in the office, because I'm, at least as an organization, we are not getting innovation for the office building. We are getting it for our own people.
True. So Hemant, there is one question for you. Is it possible for an established company which does not have a culture of innovation to build one? What is the best way to do this? Since you come from the greenfield projects, I think you should be the best person to answer this. You must have had many challenges with this, right?
See, it is a change of mindset basically. In the established organization, what happens is basically things are set, processes are defined, and then people are doing same job again and again. There, I think this 5 by technique, if it is used, if we ask any process why it is done, what is the benefit out of it, and why it is not done in other way. So if we start questioning existing things, that opens up mind and that shows different perspective basically, because sometimes some things are set in that point of time in the established organization, but with the change of time, change in staff, changing environment, things again needs to be changed. So this open communication and asking questions would be, I think, one way. And then having creating some platforms where employee can give ideas, they can have monthly town hall meetings wherein you can share some ideas which are coming from the employees. So that encourages remaining employees to think that things can be done differently. And one more maybe sharing from my side, like so we have basically all the functions: HR, admin, IT, procurement, finance, all the functions. And what we did is we asked all HODs of the function to make the tagline for their sub functions. So at a company level, we have one mission, but within group also, there are different taglines. So whenever they have their presentation, they show their taglines. So it emphasizes their objective, reason of existence of that team, and that also helped us to think differently among those team members. So somewhere we need to try and test things which suits your nature of industry and legacy of the people surrounding.
Okay, Arti, you would like to add anything?
No, I think I agree with him. The taglines really gave me a good thought. When you have your people coming from various other departments, everybody has a thought process, right? For HR, they will always have a different thought process. For admin and IT, they will have a different thought process. But I'm sure that getting taglines will give them a different perspective, will challenge everybody to think differently. So, yeah, I think it's pretty nice.
Okay, there's one final question is there from one of the audience. Google came up with a 20% rule that states that employees should use 20% of their time to work on things that they think will benefit Google the most. What are your views on this policy, and do you think it would be a good policy in the Indian landscape? Arti?
So I think, like I also heard from Hemant, he also mentioned this, and we also have it as great idea matters. And such innovations, such programs really help employees to do something different, right? If you aspire to become Googles of the world, you really, it's a good thought process to go with. But there are steps to it. You really cannot jump to what Google is doing right now. They've also taken steps to reach where they are and then propagate their programs. It's a good idea to do, but there are steps that we should all be aware of and how things have to be done. And taking baby steps and then reaching that level is something I feel is the right way to bring in the culture that you want to bring in that is there at Google. You really need to see whether you want to be Google's of the world or you want to be your own organization. It's for you how you want to be.
So there is one more question. One Mr. Sibanand Das is asking, this is for Hemant. Sir, as like the clearing and settlement organizations and banking industry works under a core bank environment, why the education industry is not coming under a core audit and application infra? Why education is poor in innovation?
It's all a political question about education, and comparing with banking and finance industry. It's a more regulated industry having finance involved. Education is also, I think, with this post-COVID, basically is becoming more and more online and open education, and things are getting developed gradually. There are quite new startups also taking this initiative and trying to streamline this industry as well.
Okay.
But only, still it cannot be completely 100% online kind of thing. So there has to be some mechanism which keeps both the entities involved aptly.
Agree. So the next question is one Neeraj Prabhakar. This is for Arti. We see a lot of people join workplace with conditions to avoid failure due to aged education system that we have in place. How can we build psychological safety for people to absorb that failing at something brave is okay, but not trying is sure shot recipe for failure?
Okay, it's a pretty long question for me to relate the entire thing.
So
What I could get was no, that's fine. What I could get from it is primarily making sure that people who come from the non-tier college education to a tier college education and giving a safety net to the employees. I think once you enter the organization, education makes a difference when you're entering the organization. But once you've stepped into the organization, it's purely your thought process and your learning capabilities that help you grow within the organization. In an organization wherein you will have about 30 to 40% people coming from the top tier colleges and the rest coming from not so top tier colleges, the only idea that you can inculcate with them is learn from each other, find different ways of innovating with each other and building up a space so that you all can give time to understand the other person's thought process. It's and I totally agree to the fact that if I cannot learn throughout my career, then there is a time for me to retire and sit at home. My education does not make a difference. It's my thought process that makes a difference as an employee.
Hemant, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, combining both the questions, I think I can share one example which would be useful. So we have long line to produce, and there are few processes which are quite critical, and with the entry thing, it is difficult and every employee to explain intricacies of that process. So we created short videos on the line so that if anyone comes, they can see this interactive video. They can see intricacies of that process, parts used, and functionality of that part, and there are so many things attached to it. So there is less chance that we miss this education to this new person, so that the time he starts working on the line, he is informed and is aware about what he is doing. And if he is aware about what he is doing, then there is less chance that he makes mistake. Okay. So again, bit innovative way I can say in the manufacturing kind of setup, but we are trying and doing things which we feel with the time necessary and reduces our unproductive time and improves the efficiency.
So thank you, Aarti and Hemant, for the insightful session. I thoroughly enjoyed moderating this. It was a real pleasure having you with us. We will have the recordings of this session soon on our social media websites for those of people who could not log in. Thank you all for attending. I'm sure you have learned and enjoyed TeamLease Adda session today. So this concludes the webinar. Thank you all.